station.
What a treat to have Keiko here.
Yeah.
Now we're live.
She's got such a lovely smile as well.
We're live.
Yes, we are live.
Go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FBS Chat. I have Jonas, who's our guest this evening from Sweden, and I have a guest interviewer, Keiko from Colorado, and I'm really pleased that she's here because when I get stuck, or even if I don't get stuck, Keiko could just come in with those wonderful questions. So that would be really cool.
I'm very sure that you won't stuck, Joe.
Yeah, well, sometimes I have to scratch my head a bit. So, Jonas, I always like to start by asking our guests how they came across the solution-focused approach, what drew you to it, and I guess what made you keep using it.
There's a lot of questions in one. And wow, every time I answer the question, it's a bit different. But so which version do I do now? Well, there is one version where I stumble across it without knowing it, which is kind of fun. In 1999, I think it was, I read Ben Furman's book, It's Never Too Late for a Happy Childhood, the Swedish equivalent of that. I don't know if it's probably translated into English, I'm sure. It's a very popular book. And I drew myself, that book, well, the title drew it to me, and that probably says something about me in my childhood and what I was struggling with when I was in my 20s, or late 20s, trying to make sense of a kind of chaotic childhood upbringing. I'm both Swedish and English. I've moved all my life. Every year we moved from somewhere to somewhere, and we switched countries off, now and then. And anyway, that was kind of normal for me when growing up, but I found out figure out later on it wasn't, and then there's more to it. But I'm willing to get into that. But anyway, I got that book really appealed to me because it's all there in the title. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. There's always lots of resources around you, and I was kind of a kid that managed to. In Sweden, they say what's it called? They say masculine in Sweden. In English, it's dandelion kids. They say in Swedish, it's kids that kind of grow up in the most meager of circumstances, that kind of bloom up and become something beautiful. So I sailed through school. I got lots of nice, good friends. I'm fairly together as a person, I think. And so I kind of, when I'm looking at my childhood from a more solution-focused perspective, I kind of figured I saw lots and lots of lovely things that were also around me at the same time. Good people around the family, or my grandparents, or people in school, and things like that. So anyway, so that was one thing. But I had no idea that I was reading a solution-focused book. That didn't get me at all. Not until like 2002, I came across the approach much more explicitly. And I suppose there's another way of getting into solution focused, because I'm an anthropologist by background. So all through the 90s, I was studying anthropology. And it's all about social constructionism and systems theory. And all that stuff was very relevant and formed my kind of worldview, how things, connected. And the nice thing with that anthropology, it's both kind of macro and micro. It's all about, how people get, build relationships and make sense of their world and connect things. So I had that kind of background, and I was going, and I studied a lot of medical anthropology. So it's all about, how we make sense of health and illness and sickness and stuff. And but got fed up with academia. I was pursuing my PhD at the time. I'm still pursuing my PhD, I can tell you. But we'll get back to that later. But I was fairly young, and I kind of done lots of studying, and I wanted to I had no idea what was outside Lund, the academia. So I got kind of tired of the fighting and all this, the people fighting for the monies, and I just wanted to do work. So I started working for the Social Insurance Office in 2000, and 2 years later, my boss kind of sent me on a recon kind of mission to a town, 300 kilometers away, 30 miles away from where Björn Johansson and Eva Persson were doing solution focus with people on sick pay benefits. and achieving remarkable results. And I went there and I came back with a story saying, we've got to do this. This is something that we've got to be doing. And I recommend my boss that we do that somehow or get training in it. And then I took time off because I had my third kid. And in Sweden, we have very generous parental leave. So I was off for more than a year off work while everybody else was doing training in solutions focus. When I got back, there was one opportunity left on the training course, and I took that. And within weeks, I was doing my first group training and seeing clients and working with them in solutions focus. When I tell this story to Harry Corman, he says, and I don't really get it, he says, "Oh, so you're one of them."
What does that mean?
One of them means a person who picks up solutions focus very quickly and very readily. So I didn't need much exposure. I just got it, and I started working with it. And then, so then it was more explicit. And then I was asked, because what we were doing at the social insurance office was very pioneering in that context. It was 14 different organizations doing solutions focused training at once and supervision at once, all together. And we were all doing lots of different things together. And Björn, he thought that was brilliant. So we presented at the Seoul World Conference in 2004, and I was kind of like leading that presentation. And when I got to that conference, I was like, "Oh, I'm home. This is where I want to be." I was like, every minute of that conference was like eureka moments, and it was like everybody was just such a great vibe, and what a great crowd of people. And I just knew this is what I wanted to be doing, and so yeah, I don't know if that answers your second question of how I kept at it, but
I'm curious about you. So you read the book Never Too Late to Be a Happy Child at the time you were an anthropologist studying for your PhD.
Yeah.
After reading that, what made you think I want to? Because is social insurance the same as social care in the UK? Is that kind of?
No, it's I suppose it's like your job centre plus. People making decisions about people's disability benefits and pensions and stuff. But back then it was much more oriented towards people. And now it's become more of a back office kind of operation where people they don't really see people that much. But back then we were seeing lots of people, and just working solutions focus made so much a difference. Because I remember coming direct from academia, interested in people's sickness and health, and asking really lots of questions about why and how they were sick and how it felt. I was crazily interested in people's experiences of pain. So my investigations were like 4, 5, 6 pages longer than everybody else's, because I was writing about all this, and I noticed my clients leaving my investigations, and they were so much. I mean, they were just worse, so much worse than when they came, and they were having it tough when they came, when they were having it worse when they left. But while working, switching to solutions focus, I just noticed that people were so much better, and they felt much more hopeful and optimistic and more self-belief in that. And for me, as an social insurance officer or investigator, I just the most remarkable results. People just saying, they were coming to me, geared up with all these different explanations to why they should be having sick pay benefits, and I was asking them coping questions, and they were like, "Well, I can do it. I can do something else and be on this." I remember working with the worst, really. Oh, sorry, the worst. If there's such a thing as a worst client, but there were people who had been on sick pay benefits the longest, people who had been unemployed. I got all of those, and I managed, doing. I had remarkable results, and so that kind of made a big difference. Very quickly I could see there was a huge difference in the way people reacted, responded. So
So what difference did it make to your clients, do you feel, asking them how they managed their illness or their current situation?
They just got a different avenue. I mean, I suppose people, I don't know, most people get stuck in systems, right? They get stuck in silos. You get sick short term, and then you get long term sick, or or you get short-term unemployed, then you get long-term unemployed, or you start with social benefits and you get stuck with the social benefits, or if you're a problem family and you think you can manage it for a short time, well, you get many people just get stuck in it. And I suppose, you know, they discovered that there was another option. They could do something else. You know, there was just a wider range of opportunities and things that they could be pursuing. And then, as I work, my final years at the Social Insurance Office, it was very much working in collaboration with other offices, the municipalities, the job centres, the hospital, the healthcare system, and I want to say with that, Solutions Focus worked really well building collaboration with different organisations, and then I started working more with that. So I switched to what I'm doing now, which is working for a coordination agency, which coordinates 6 different authorities' joint efforts. It's a very Swedish construct, but very inspired from what's going on in the States, especially in the 90s when they created these kind of healthcare systems, but all these different professionals were working for one organization. I suppose you have that in Colorado, I think. But I don't know. Maybe I should pass the ball over to Keiko and say, what would you like to ask me?
Thank you, Jonas. That brings me to ask you a question about collaborations and then your current role.
Yeah.
How is it? How do you see this solution focus helping you in terms of collaborations? Or how?
Well, it makes my work so much easier and makes every day much more of an inspiration. And people, I mean, even in my world, with all these different authorities, it's easy to get stuck in that world too. I mean, negative speaking, you know, silos. Silos never comes with a positive connotation. But I see the people who are struggling and trying to figure things out, and we get together and we notice things that are different, and we, you know, talk about resources, and we talk about where we want to go instead, and meetings become so much more of a delight. And I think we've been doing remarkable things here, actually. There's lots of people training on Solutions Focus. We have, you know, people getting help in ways that they never would have had before. There's kind of a whole systems approach to this. I mean, even though there's so much more to go, but we're training politicians, we're training leaders, we're training professionals in all different ways of working, you know, different, you know, types of professionals, you know, from the hospitals to the psychiatry wards to the, you know, social sector, you know, this people, you know, investigating, the people doing all kind of social service work, you know, unemployment officers, anybody. They're all doing solutions. Many people of them are hundreds and hundreds are trained in Solutions Focus, and not only trained but also getting training at their workplace, you know, all together as a. So it's not just going for trainings and then coming back and then doing business as usual, but actually taking care of the whole process of learning. You know, so we're not just starting things up; we're also following through and coming back to it, and you know, and different ways of doing that. You know, from now it's a lot of virtual training, but we're, you know, doing in-house trainings. We're doing you know, big conferences, anything that people want, and it's just growing and spreading. So yeah, so I don't know. I haven't counted all the people that we've been training over the years, but it's got to be over 1,000 or 2.
Wow, that's wonderful, wonderful. And then it's so cool that it is so many different professionals. It's not only one sector; it's many sectors across the board.
Yeah,
and coming to the same kind of platform. So I want to go over the question that it came from through the Facebook. It's called, it says, often solution focus is said not to be a positive approach. So how does optimism relate to that, Jonas? What does your take on that? Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah. No, I go against the idea that it's kind of all focused on positivity. It's not positive psychology. we take problems very seriously. I mean, I think we take people's struggles very seriously. And how does that relate to optimism? Well, I think it's all in the word hope, really. I mean, I wouldn't say optimism. I would say it's more hopeful. We're more a hopeful tribe, or we like to talk about hope, and we like to take the word hope in very early in our conversations and try and build on that. So it's not blind optimism. Hope is difficult. I mean, hope is hard. Hope is not something you can just going to get free. You got to work for it. So in a way, I think we balance both the struggles and the difficulties of life with an attitude that looks forward rather than down or backwards. If that kind of helps answer your question, I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, optimism is such a loaded word, and positivity is such a loaded word, and it's become a bit one-sided. But I think switch focus is much more subtle in the way it deals with people's lives. It's not heavy-handed in that kind of way. It doesn't prescribe exactly how we are supposed to be doing things. We learn to collaborate with our clients, and we are quietly hopeful that they will lead us the way. But we do go in there with our presuppositions, which is, the client is a resourceful person. The client wants something from this. But I've never met a client who doesn't agree with that, eventually, at least. Maybe not initially when they don't see it, but if we persist, they will also be able to look forwards like we do. I wouldn't call that optimism, though, but it's more, hopeful, strong. I don't know. Such a thoughtful response from a thoughtful. I wonder who that Facebook user is. I don't get their name. Those are nice. I love to respond.
Can't hear you, Ash.
I'm jumping in. That's from your friend Paul. The question was from Mark, but that response is from Paul.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Nice to have friends out there watching.
Yeah, and Raya, Gaul, I have knit night right now, so we'll catch up on the recording. Have a great time.
That's great. Thanks. Go on. Please ask me.
I was just trying to optimism and hope, and what's the difference? I guess with hope, you're working towards an outcome with a plan in place, whereas optimism may be, I think things may get better, but I'm not sure if I have a role in it. Do you know what I mean? When you have hope, you've kind of got a pathway to reach somewhere, and with the solution-focused way of working, it's identifying this is where I want to be, and these are the steps that I can take that are within my power to achieve, rather than optimism being sort of, hey, if things happen for the best, it's because the world willed it that way. Whereas I think hope, you have more agency in what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, they're very philosophical kind of concepts, and I mean, we make something out of it between us right now, and it'll be very uniquely right now. But people have been talking about these kind of concepts for eons, and it's difficult to pin it down. But we make whatever use of it that we can at the moment. I think when we speak to our clients about best hopes, it's a difficult question, but they kind of make sense of it somehow. And if it's useful and somehow, then we can start going forward and somehow it's probably better to just not get too stuck with what these words actually mean, but just listen to what your client is saying and move with that. You know what I mean? I don't want to go against your definition or what you think, but there is, I don't know, optimism seems to be much more on the surface and maybe in opposition to pessimism, whereas hope is a much more richer kind of concept in a way. There's so much more in it. You have to struggle with hope a bit. Optimism seems a bit easy.
And then it sounds like it's connects to what you said about take struggle seriously.
Yeah.
and then optimism seems to go against it. Even if it's a struggle, optimism seems like, yeah, but look at the bright side of it. But hopeful seems to relate to your comment about take struggle seriously, but you have the directions to make it somewhat useful or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good, thank you.
So you started your training in helping teams become more collaborative. Is that what I sort of understood?
Well, yeah. I mean, I started out as a social insurance officer, meeting clients who are on sick pay benefits and helping them move forward in their lives. Gradually moved to collaborating with other agencies in that role. But then 2006, I started working for a coordination agency as a coordination manager. And I'm still lamenting that decision because I'm not seeing clients as other people see clients anymore. My clients are now leaders and other professionals and politicians and I see myself more of an enabler for other people to have better conversations and meetings with real clients, real people out in the world. I mean, professionals and leaders and politicians are also real people, but I will stress that. And they're also struggling and having a difficult time. But I don't think they see themselves as clients as I would somehow. I mean, I go to a meeting and they're there on the same kind of mandate that I'm there, and they want to make decisions and make things better. So, and they might be struggling with that things aren't going the way they hope, and I was how would you like them to be going instead? But I don't need to be a coach or a leader of the conversation. I mean, maybe often my best work is not done as a leader, but just being in the room and picking up on when we could be going forwards instead. But I do lots of moderate conferences. I help other leaders become more clear to what they want to do and organize these trainings. And I do a lot of trainings now. I didn't do that for a long time, but actually I've been doing training for a long time, but I haven't seen myself as a trainer until very recently. But I'm doing lots of training. Anyway, so my clients are more people within the system, leaders and politicians and stuff. And my best day this year was working. I did a day in the Swedish Parliament where I did a lunch seminar, and it absolutely was the best 60 minutes of my year, where we got all these politicians in the room with some real people, the clients, some professionals in the room, and we were trying to make sense of some abstract numbers about what we were doing, how that was making a difference to people's lives, and getting that group of 30, 40 people actually really engaging with each other in a meaningful way on their lunch break, basically. And it was just a beautiful process how these people, the clients and the politicians, actually met and saw each other as people, as resources, as somebody who actually could do some difference. And my small role in facilitating that was really one of my proudest moments this year. But it's not the first time I've been to Parliament or have done stuff there. And so I work nationally with coordination agency work as well. And anyway, so I'm kind of all over the place, but I do lots of different things all over the place within the system. And it's a really lovely role because I'm like a consultant, but I work internally. I don't work coming from the outside, having to do a gig. I'm already paid, so they just need. They just need to say, Jonas, do you want to be part of this meeting? Yeah, sure. But we do lots of nice things to get the organizations working better together, and solution focus is very beneficial in that.
Cool.
As you can imagine, because it's such a negative kind of world. I mean, I suppose it's the same in England, and I suppose it's the same in America. I mean, these organizations, they struggle against each other, and they keep fighting over money, and and who gets to do what, and who doesn't do what needs to be done, and stuff.
Who's to blame, or
who's to blame? Yeah, there's all that. It's the same all over the world.
You mentioned about doing a lot of different things all over different places, and I was wondering, like, what do you do? Different things relating to solution focus, maybe outside of your coordinator manager role.
Right. Oh, well, yeah. Well, yes. Well, there are several things really. I mean, for one thing, I don't know where my role actually ends really, and where me begins. But I find myself engaging with solutions focus even when I'm not working a lot. So I don't know if that's part of it.
Deep. Sorry.
We have recently started a cooperative. Me and a bunch of fellow practitioners, SF practitioners, and we want to bring solutions focus more into our local society. So be more of a presence, very much inspired by Raya and Guy and the collective, and which I'm also a part of, I'm proud to say, where we want to bring solution focus into the world of social justice, and literally, like Raya says, give it away. What can we do? It's the worst kind of idea to start a company, but what we've actually done, the collective, is a kind of a company. So we have some money, but what we basically plan to do is just to give solution focus away. So can we do, create free material for the schools? Can we do free supervision for advocacy groups? Could we do free trainings for younger underprivileged kids and young leaders? Could we create our own t-shirt series, where people can buy t-shirts with solutions focused slogans on, and the proceeds could go for people coming to solution focused conferences who wouldn't afford to otherwise. We've got lots of those types of ideas, or just going out with a sofa and putting it in a park and just inviting people to have conversations. There's lots of things like that. So, but this is one of the things that we've been working on up until now. So we just basically started that cooperative, and that's going to be really lots of fun to do that. I work politically, so I'm part of the Swedish Labour Party. I'm not in any high positions, but I'm part of the local council, but not in any heavy kind of way. But I do see my solution focusedness coming to the ground, to the fore there, because they would have lots of meetings, internal meetings, and trying to figure out how to deal with tough things, and I could somehow help with asking a solution focused question or responding to a problem in a solution focused way. Has been very helpful, and I find it so much fun doing that political campaigning, meeting people and asking, so what's going on, what are they going through, and how can I learn from that? That's a lot of fun. I'm also chairman of the Swedish solutions focused organization, like the UK SFP or the SFBTA, I suppose, in America, but we don't have as many members, I suppose, as you. We have about 300 to 400 members.
Oh, that's great.
It's not too bad.
What do you guys do?
We do workshops. There's been a lot of online stuff activity. We do a yearly conference. We donate money to the journal, the SF Journal. What else? We have a newsletter. We invite members to write about the work they do and publish that. We work a little bit with accreditation, joining up with the UK ASFP, really piggybacking on their ideas. So Harry's very much involved with that. He's part of the board. I don't know. This is a great team. We do lots of different things.
Lovely.
So yeah, my free time is also very much solutions focused. I said that I'm saying I don't know where my solutions focused world stops and where my work begins. It's all really very much interconnected. I love reading, and I'm doing a PhD in my free time too on solutions focus. So yeah, I don't know really where I get the time, but yeah, I'm very much engaged in solution focused world.
I was going to say, do you have any free time? It sounds like you're so busy and.
Well, the thing is, the work I do is very rewarding. It doesn't. I mean, I don't suppose it's the same. Is it the same for you guys? That working isn't that hard. There's somewhere you get a lot of energy just by being and working in a solution-focused way. It's not much of a struggle. You get so much energy and inspiration from the people you meet that you just end the day on a high, and it's easy to keep going, really. So and things just make much more sense. I don't get stuck in stuff as well. So there's, I don't know if this might be difficult for people on the outside looking in, because people do struggle with understanding me sometimes, thinking that I work. My days, I've got to have more hours than anybody else's, but they don't. My days are just the same as yours, and I think solution focus is just gives us so much more space. Space to think, space to reflect, space to listen, space. This silence works for us because we don't need to work that much.
There's another question there, Jonas. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. Can you see it on your screen?
There's a great Jonas, to create a cooperative, when are you coming down to the Netherlands? Oh yeah. And also a question about youth care system. Is the Swedish concept similar to the Danish? Well, I don't know. As we seem to take a lot from the Danish here in Holland. All right. That's a difficult question. I'd love to come to the Netherlands. It's not that seldom I go to Belgium and see, and I like to spend some time with Ilfaro, with Lieselot and Anton. I see them not every year, but every other year at least, and I do engage with mostly Anton through Zoom and stuff. But so I get to there, but I actually never really been to the Netherlands in a solutions focused context. So there's got to be a first sometime soon. Just hope this COVID thing passes by, and then we could get together and do something meaningful. That'd be great. Because I know there's a lot of good things going on in Netherlands, and especially as the system is very similar to the Swedish system, with very siloized organization of wealth care organizations, and they're very much autonomous and they can work on their own, which makes it really difficult to coordinate. So we have that in similar, at least. And I think the Danes, they've kind of solved many of those problems by putting all the authority on the local level, which makes it easier for the local authorities to create teams of different professionals and design the work more around users and user benefits and stuff. Sweden is very much schizophrenic in a way. We've made the healthcare and the social services more local, but we've centralized everything else. So job unemployment and social insurance is centralized, and Sweden's a big country. I mean, geographically wise, so which makes joint decision making difficult. Whereas in Denmark and I suppose Netherlands is a smaller country geographically wise, so it's easier to meet up if you need to. I guess, but I imagine that they're just as siloized as we are and have their problems too. But I don't think they have coordination agencies as the way we do. I think we're fairly unique in Sweden when it comes to that. So that might be something to explore. And
any of the training that you've done in your coordination and collaboration trainings, has any of that done with schools or youth services?
Not that much, because the coordination agency's basic aim is to enable people to get back to work. So it pushes the age, the people that we try to design services for, from the age of 16 to 64. So we're not that much in schools. I would like to be more active in schools, but and we do train school leaders and school politicians, but we haven't done actually the physical work of working in the classrooms or in the schools themselves. Our work is more done, after schools. So when people leave schools, and many of the clients that the coordination agency has a lot of money. I mean, not a lot of money, but they have some money. So we have like 7 million Swedish krona. What's that? $600,000 something a year to spend on trainings and team building and building teams actually and employing. We don't employ them, but we give money for other people to employ the teams.
Wow.
And we what was I say? Yeah, a lot of their work is targeted people who struggle with school. I mean, they have struggled with school, so they've left school. They haven't finished their degree. They're struggling to find a place in life, in work life, and they probably have a lot of comorbidities, different things that are tying them down, drug problems or health issues or housing issues or low self-esteem, all these different words. We are terrible words, but the great thing is that all these teams that we finance, that they meet them all in a very solutions focused way, or not very, they are like the best kind of solution focused people you can possibly imagine. And they just see them as survivors, people with resources, people who have lots of ideas, and and they very remarkably, very quickly shift their lives. And this is one of the things that make these coordination agencies very locally very successful, because we create results very quickly with people that the silo just haven't been able to manage on their own. Anyway, go on. Should we talk about, what else can we talk about? Ask Jonas about his love of music.
We're being pushed towards the music, Jonas, so go.
Yes, let's do that. Well,
yeah.
Wow, where do I start with that? A few years ago, I can't remember when now. It's got to be at least 6-something years ago. I just came up with the idea, why can't I combine two of my passions into one? I don't know if I'm different in that respect, but I really like music. I listen to a lot of music. I've always been passionate about discovering new bands and new music, and all my friends growing up were musicians or in bands, but I think my biggest talent was consuming music. So I listen to a lot of music, and I really like music. And music has one of the things that, going back to how did I get through a tough childhood, music really helped. So there's a lot of music has a lot of positive connotations for me, and it's very useful. And so I decided just to, I don't know where it started exactly. I must have had some idea about music making a difference in workshops, and just decided, why not create a playlist with solution focused songs? And I posted a thing on the SFT list asking people to send me ideas of songs. And I think Frank Thomas had done a short list somehow in one book. But rapidly there was a lot of songs, and now it's 830 songs on that list. And new ones coming basically every week. There's 1 or 2 songs coming up, and many of them kind of like very familiar songs that we didn't think that, wow, that could be solution focused. Yes, it could be. And then we I could look at the lyrics or listen to the song. And yes, that's definitely solution focused, and it gets appropriated. And some of the songs have a history. You kind of use them in a workshop or at a conference. But there's so much else. Guy and I did a workshop for a long time ago on SF and music, and we've written several articles on SF and music. So and there's a lot of nice connections between SF and music, even from a kind of a trainer perspective or a more kind of a academic perspective. I mean, because music is so embodied. It's nothing. It's something you feel with your body. It's something you feel. It's a whole thing. It's a whole system kind of experience. It's both your mind and your body, and it's social, and it makes you do things. And in a way, I like that kind of a way of working as a metaphor. other than the kind of like more scripted version of solution focus, where it's more to do with questions and language and words, which is very much in your head. So the metaphor of music is much more engaging and easier and more rhythmic and tonal, and it's all much more loose and fluid in a way. So I like that kind of. I think the SF playlist adds more to things than just you could read a book and learn solutions focus, but you could also listen to music and learn a lot about solutions focus. And I get that response from people listening to the list, like in the car or on the way to work and stuff, and just thinking, what's this song got to do with solutions focus? And yes, it's in the title, or yeah, it's in the chorus, and I can hear it and how it's making me think. And there's something about music which just sticks to people, like good stories. They stick to people, and it's that's kind of interesting. There's a lot to be explored when it comes to music and solutions focus, and I don't know. Anyway, and there's so much else you can. I mean, music sets a tone, it sets a vibe, it colors the silence, it makes people happy, gets people engaged. It's a lot with music, which is underrated, I think. And that's coming from an anthropological background. I mean, in Western cultures, music is often second rate. It's something that's not at the top. It's something that you add to things, not something that's there from the start. But in many cultures in the world, music is what organizes the world. You drum yourself to get better.
Like like for the ceremonies and different things you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, music has such a basic. It's so much tied to our basic experience of living, and maybe we tend to forget that in the West somehow. I don't know.
And then,
sorry,
go ahead. Oh, I would just wanted to ask how can people get to the things? You said Spotify?
It's on Spotify. Yeah. So if Spotify is fairly worldwide now. It's a Swedish company. I'm not making any excuses or want to make any marketing for Spotify as it, but it's easy for people hopefully to access anyway. But you search for Solution Focus Playlist, 3 words, Solution Focus Playlist, or you can search Jonas Wells and you'll find it there. User profile Jonas Wells, and there's also a Facebook page. So Solution Focus Playlist on Facebook, where anybody can post anything, and I regularly put up songs and small comments or excerpts from both the songs and the lyrics sometimes and stuff. So it's a nice way of it might not come up in everybody's Facebook scrolls, but it's there, and it's kind of nice.
Lovely.
I think this would be a difficult one, Jonas, but someone's asking, what is your best song on the playlist?
Oh dear. I can't answer that. What's my best song on the playlist? Dear, oh dear. Wait a minute, I've just got it. The last one I got from Anton, and it's a Belgian song called "I Can See the Change" from somebody called Celeste. But how about one of my absolute favorite ones is I don't know if you've heard the song "The Concept" by Teenage Fan Club. Have you heard of Teenage Fan Club? They were big in the 90s, indie rock pop band. And the lyrics go, "She wears denim wherever she goes, so I'm gonna sit inside and listen to the status quo." And it's basically a song on how she's all right. She's all right. She's got resources. She's fine. And the chorus goes, "I don't want to hurt her. Oh no, oh yeah. I don't want to hurt her. Oh yeah." And that has a kind of a profound meaning for me, because Solutions Focus was basically started. One of the versions of why Solutions Focus started, and the team formed in the late 70s, was that they wanted to design an approach that didn't hurt people. And because they were people, all of them, who were all very easily hurt. So they wanted to design an approach that didn't hurt people. Eve Lipchick was quoted to say that. And that kind of stuck with me. So we're still kind of searching for ways of not hurting people. And we maybe do that unintentionally many times. But it's a nice kind of steering compass to have our conversations in a way that doesn't hurt people. And invariably we will do, and we will misunderstand, and we will get things wrong, and we will struggle with our clients sometimes, but we just remind ourselves, okay, so I'm trying not to hurt, so what can I do instead? What could be better? And find a way of doing that with our clients. So that's one way of answering the question. But if you asked it 5 minutes ago, I would have come up with a different song. So there's lots of songs there to explore. I mean, why not Queen, Don't Stop Me Now? And maybe you should stop me now. And Don't Stop Me Now, the Queen is like, just get out of the way. Just let me move on.
I love that song. Lovely.
There's another. I don't know. Have you seen the other question there? It's a bit loaded. I don't know if I wanted to ask it, Jonas.
German pop music.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with German. I don't understand German, but there are German songs on the list because people have recommended me, but I have no way of knowing or checking. I suppose I could Google Translate somehow, but I'll just take people's word for it that the song has a solution focused connotation, or it's connected to solution focused somehow. That Facebook user says Jonas and I have a place. That's got to be Paul, because there aren't that many people who have a joint. The nice thing about Spotify is you can have collaborative playlists. You can create playlists with other people. And Paul and I have one, which is really cool. It's the first time I actually tried using that function, and we're still at it. We started in April, May, I think, somewhere, and we're still going with adding a song, 3-4 songs a week, and we're just really inspiring each other with songs that are meaningful or hopeful or fun, or and the nice thing about it that we're both, Paul and I, are sharing songs that are deeply significant for each of us, which the other one just doesn't know about. All of them. I mean, many of the songs are brand new for us, and we're like discovering stuff, like a whole new, avenue of music, of the musical world that we didn't see before, which is very much like a solutions focused conversation. Answering spectrums and stuff.
Right.
It's something else there, and just having a smile.
Lovely.
Anyway, so that's Paul. Anyway, what else can we talk about?
Well, I was just going to ask, do you play an instrument? Are you actually musical yourself?
I play a guitar. But I wouldn't put myself on stage. But I have been known to become on stage on some solutions focused conferences. But I'm more private with my own playing. Maybe that's something that needs to change, or maybe I have things I should be playing, but I'm not that confident when it comes to playing. But I do like playing, and I can. If you leave me alone for a while with a guitar, I might come up with something nice.
Wow. Oh, maybe I should ask your advice. We're kind of doing a FBS Christmas song.
Go on.
For some reason, shut up, you. For some reason, Aisha has got us a studio, but we're trying. I'm asking Jonas's opinion.
Yeah, but you cannot show this in private, not when people are watching. And I've got a cold, and I've just come on air to stop you. Look.
Oh, come off then. Then we're gonna have to see you. I was just thinking of what sort of song we should sing, Jonas.
Oh, come on.
What? It's a valid question.
Here's a band you should be. Fontaine's DC.
Fontaines, DC. Right, excellent. I will look them up.
From Dublin. They've got a very solutions focused song on the list. And what's the name of that song now? It's called it's a great song, which is all about life is the chorus is life isn't always empty. Life isn't always empty. There's all and then a list of things that are useful in life. Don't get stuck in the past. Say your favorite things at mass. Tell your mother that you love her. Go out of your way for others. It's just a great song. And the lyric
I'm sure it made it to the playlist.
It's on the playlist.
Of course.
Anyway, there's lots of nice songs out there. Fontaine, definitely the song that I played most this year. So that's, sorry, I could talk about music forever. Stop me, please. Stop.
So what?
Anyway, go
on. What are you hoping to achieve in the near future? I know you were talking about maybe doing free online training and getting the solution focused, sort of pushing it out into the community more. Is there anything else?
Well, I'm getting more and more involved in social justice issues, and hopefully I'll be able to spend more time with that. In my local environment, solutions focus tends to grow, and I'm now getting more and more involved on a regional level. So larger parts of Sweden are demanding my help, and I find that really great. So maybe, training even more people and getting more and more, ripple effects in Sweden would be nice. It's all happening. I'd like to. This week, me and Raya are doing a discussion group on anti-racism. And
cool.
Yeah, me and Raya are doing that, and there are a whole bunch of brilliant people joining up for that. So I'm hoping also to push solution focus more into a more of a greater self-awareness of how it positions itself in social justice issues. I think we've been poor with that, to say the least. I think we tend to hide ourselves behind a veil of thinking that we're neutral and that whatever we do is not political, but that doesn't make any sense to me, because what we do is highly political. Just the idea of talking about somebody's resources or trying to hopefully have useful, meaningful conversations is a political act in itself. And there is no neutrality. We're co-constructing something with our client. There is no way you can be neutral if you're co-constructing something with your client. And so I think we can be more self-aware when we do have conversations with our clients. Like I was saying before, we do tend to get in our clients' way. We do tend to misunderstand. We do sometimes hurt people, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not often intentionally, I think, but very often unintentionally. So I think we need to foster a higher degree of self-reflexivity, both in my own kind of art, working with my client, but also towards each other as colleagues, and also in the world of solutions focused, like conferences and journals and books and stuff. Our world is still very, very white. And it's almost, you could put the word white in front of solutions focus and nobody would actually say that that's wrong. You could say, this is white solutions focused practice. This is a white conference. This is a white book. We do tend to be very white in what we do. I think one of the nice things that I've discovered working with the collective is that there are a whole lot of people out there in the world who are also working solutions focused who we never get to see otherwise, who come to, like people in Peru or Ghana or India or in other places in Africa, or Russia, Eastern Europe. There's lots of places where we haven't been. I mean, the big training institutes I don't think we could list one big training institute that's working outside of Western Europe or the States or Australia, New Zealand. I don't think we could. Oh, maybe Singapore we could. But I don't know. So I think we could be. There is more to be done in bringing social justice to the solution-focused world. I believe that, and I'm hoping that would actually enlighten us even more. I mean, what would happen if the Tumbuka tribe in Congo who drum themselves to better health, if they were practicing solutions focus, wouldn't that be cool? What would we learn from that? There's something to be learned from different experiences from different people, and either if you're young or old or female or male or whatever sexual orientation you have, everybody has their take on solutions focus, and I find it fascinating that we can learn something from everybody. So why not widen our range? And we need to be inviting people to do that, because I think we as white male, me specifically, we do have a bad history of letting go of control and inviting other people into our spaces. And I think the only way to stop that is becoming more self-aware of that and inviting people and actually consciously trying to do better. So becoming better allies or better inviters. And that's a work that will never stop. But I think that's something that I'm very passionate about more in the future. I hope to be learning and writing more about things like that. I'm thinking, asking myself a question. I mean, Sweden is very good when it comes to feminism. It's very much a feministic society. It's been, so I'm kind of thinking, so what can solutions focus offer feminism? What can solutions focus offer anti-racism? What can solutions focus offer, pride, movements? What can we offer? Have we got something specific we can offer? And I think we do. I think we have something that is ingrainedly respectful and useful. But I don't think that connection is really that explicit. We should make it even more explicit, because I think we have something to offer.
And
does that make any sense? Does that make any sense at all?
And the anti-racism, is it something that people can join? Is it something online that people can take part in?
Well, let's see. What we've done is we set up a discussion group, and we're max 12 people because we want to have lots of discussions. And we're going to meet up for 4 times over the autumn, the fall, if you're American. And let's just see what happens with that, because I think it's a new kind of activity that the collective is offering. And I can imagine if it turns out well, which I'm sure it will be, that I'll be offering more opportunities, or things will emerge from that, which will bring it forward. Because I feel there's a lot to explore, and it's all kind of new. So I'm sure something will emerge from that people can get engaged in, either if it's writing material or reading material, or if it's more discussion groups. But there's a lot of potential, I think, and it's certainly something that's very sign of the times kind of thing. It's very much people are wanting, but I think we need to make it more explicit and make it very tangible, and so it's not a political with a big P. It's political in a way that I'm just becoming more self-aware of what I'm actually doing when I'm with my clients or with my colleagues, and there are lots of good things going on that we should be talking more about, but we need to get into spaces where we can talk about them. But so yes, there will be opportunities, I'm sure, but I'm not promising anything right now, but there will be, because this is something that we can't stop.
Lovely.
And the SF World Conference was a great start, because I met people from all over the world, and it's a lovely way to connect, but also to understand that we all seem to be working with the same issues, just in different parts of the world. and they were all very giving, and I'm hoping next year's will be even bigger.
Yeah. I have my I can see now in the chat, our private chat, it says wrap it up, says Aisha. I am writing. I have gone back to university, so I'm doing my PhD, and luckily I have Gail Miller as my supervisor, and
good for you.
so I'm trying to. I mean, even though I'm ingrained in the kind of the solution-focused world, I'm trying to take an outside-in look as well, and so I've been looking at the history of solutions focus, and I've been looking at the ethnography of solutions focus, looking at other ethnographies of how other people have been writing about solutions focus. And eventually I hope to be able to write something on the anthropology of solutions focus. So what does it actually say about us as human beings engaging with each other? What does that mean? And almost looking at solutions focus as a tribe, as a specific way of working. And I think one of the great things about anthropology is that there is often a difference between what people say they do and what they actually do. And it needs an anthropologist to see that. You need to be in the world of the people saying they do the work, actually see them working, to see how those two things aren't always congruent. And for instance, one of the things like social justice, are we really that as inclusive as we like to think what we are? And I don't think we have been. I think we need to be more. So it might be a critical kind of essay or critical dissertation, but I think that we need to foster spaces maybe where we can be more critical. And going back to that earlier question about positivity, many of our conferences often get misunderstood as being kind of like a positive sect that we get together as incurable optimists, and we just go around patting each other's back and say you're doing a great job. And there is things to explore when it comes to looking at the solution-focused world from an anthropological perspective, which maybe will hopefully make us even sharper, and maybe more subtle, and maybe more useful. I don't know.
Sounds like a massive project, but I'm sure you'll manage it.
Yeah, well, I'm getting there. I mean, I'm doing bits and pieces, bits at a time. That's the way.
Anything you'd like to ask Kiko before we say goodbye to Jonas?
No, it was lovely to see how the music in SF works and how you see where you're going with this SF. That's really nice to know. Yeah, it's one thing that struck me is that we want to make sure we are doing what we say we are doing. Yeah, it's really inspiring words.
And it sounds like you're really reaching so many different sort of helping organizations in Sweden, and they seem to be open to it, which is even more wonderful, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't say I've succeeded yet. There's a lot of work left to be done, but it is moving forward in a very nice way. There are lots of really nice examples of organizations or kind of, I mean, Solutions Focus is a long-term project, right? It takes time for things to change, even though it's a brief kind of way of working. But if you're going to talk about organizations, they don't change overnight. But still, I have plenty of examples of organizations doing remarkable work in a very short space of time. And so I'm gonna keep plodding on and see where this takes me.
Yeah, and I'm sure. And thank you so much to both of you for being with us tonight. Aisha will probably want us to hang on to have a little debrief afterwards. But for now, thank you both so much. It's been really fascinating, and I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. So thank you, everyone.
And I just want to say a big thank you to you, Joe, and Aisha. I mean, wow, what a privilege to be part of this new space that you've opened up for these longer conversations that we don't have that many spaces of around, to be honest. So you're doing a huge service to the community, and thank you for letting me be a part of that. I'm really happy. And thank you, Keiko, to have you around.
Yeah.
Guest host, what a privilege for me.
You're welcome.
So
Yeah,
thank
Okay,
you.
so
of course.
if you hang on there, guys, then Aisha no doubt will come in. But thank you everyone for now, and we'll see you. I believe we're seeing you tomorrow, but I'm not sure. Aisha, who's tomorrow? I know you're in the background somewhere. No? Okay. But hang on, guys. Oh, here she comes. Turn your volume on, dear. It's like talking to the elderly. Turn your volume on.
Wendy, dear.
Wendy.
Wendy will be on tomorrow.
Okay.
Our Wendy.
All right.
Lovely.
Do you have to close this?
Yes. So
Yep.
see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. with Wendy.
Lovely. Bye, everybody.